But we're talking about the Middle East. We're talking about a huge U.S. presence over here. These are the U.S. assets that could potentially be on Iran's radar. We're talking about Bahrain, where the Navy's 5th Fleet headquarters is. We're talking about Qatar, where there's the Al Udeid air base that we were talking about, and this is potentially the target of those Iranian missiles. We're talking about Al Dhafra air base in UAE. We're talking about, of course, the Strait of Hormuz, again, US having a presence over here. There's also in Iraq the Harir air base that the US is present in. In Iraq, there's the Al-Assad air base as well, and the Al-Tanf garrison in Syria. So virtually across the entire, and also of course in Kuwait, where the Ali Al-Salem air base is there, and as we were telling you earlier, the Navy's 5th Fleet headquarters of the United States. So these are a large number of the US bases that are currently present in the entire Middle East. All of these potentially could be on the radar of Iran because they are fairly close to Iran's own borders. Remember, there are many other bases in different other parts of the Middle East as well, but all of these could potentially be on the radar as far as Iran is concerned. Let's quickly take this across, in fact, to our guest. Joining us with us is Mark Burns, Republican strategist. He's also a spiritual advisor to President Trump and founder of the Now television network. Sakina Datoo is an independent journalist who's joining us. Of course, she leans towards Iran. Let me begin with you first, Mark Burns. The manner in which the US bases in Middle East have now been targeted by Iran via missile strikes. What exactly will be US's response given the position that has been already taken by President Trump yesterday?
Well, I mean, first of all, 6 missiles were fired, 0 hits. Again, Iran knows how to start a spark, but they don't really know how to start a fire. The president has made it very clear that peace through strength to him under his administration isn't just a theory, it's a warning label. And right now, Iran is playing with extreme fire. We know exactly where the where Ayatollah is. We know, and we could have taken him out a long time ago. That wasn't the president's goal, but right now we see that what this retaliation, which is, again, it's minute. And you just made it very clear. Our presence in the Middle East is extremely strong. It is wise for Tehran to come to the peace table and not retaliate with these type of actions. I mean, we already know that Iran has told Hamas, has told Hezbollah, has told the Houthis to attack more American bases in the Middle East. We are all on high alert in that region. My trip that was scheduled to go to Tehran has been canceled. My trip that was scheduled to go to Syria has been canceled because of these kidnappings that have been inspired, backed by Iran. So the president is not bluffing. And he's already made it clear that, not necessarily that he wants a regime change, but if they don't get their act in order, if Tehran doesn't get their act in order, then there may be need to be a regime change. And keep in mind, not so much a regime change, but a regime tumble or crumble, because the people of Iran are speaking up. There are hundreds of thousands of Iranians that are protesting against and asking for the death of Ayatollah. So there is so much unrest that's happening within the Iranian community. Let
me bring in Sakina Datoo on that as well. Sakina Datoo, your response, because here you have our panelists from the US saying that it was completely up to Iran to sit on the negotiating table to resolve this peacefully, but with these provocations, there's every possibility of the US once again getting engaged militarily, and this time it could be far worse, is what President Trump had said earlier.
I don't really know how Mark can sit there and talk with a straight face, how hypocritical he is, talking about the fact that, Iran should not retaliate when it was the US who was the aggressor here, who went against the international law and went and hit, Israel can have the nuclear powers, that's not a problem, but if Iran wants it even for peaceful purposes, then that's a problem. And even if it is a problem, he's talking about Iran should come to the table for peace. Iran was at the table to talk about peace. Iran signed a deal with the US, which 10 years ago his president tore it up. So it is extremely hypocritical to now be talking about this language. And he mentioned about the regime change. This is very naive, and I think it is a huge propaganda. Regime change is not going to happen in Iran. I mean, they have seen how people of Iran have come together. If anything, if there were any assets of the Zionist entity before, then these have been neutralized. neutralized. And in fact, Iranians have never been more together, rallying behind the flag. In fact, what America has done is actually brought the people together. So the idea of a regime change is very naive. I think the US really should stop now thinking that they are the police of the world and that they can dictate terms to anyone. That era is gone. People have woken up. The idea of this capitalist, imperialist, empire wanting to control resources all over the world, the days are numbered. I think the idea of Iran sitting back is not possible. It was not the one that started this aggression. It was Israel. It was America that has started this, and there is panic. He's talking about retaliation. US will not keep quiet. Well, we are into a third world war already. And so, yes, the Straits of Hormuz is going to be closed and the bases are going to be targeted because it is America that has started this aggression. Okay. And it is the Western countries that have continued to do that.
I beg to differ at all.
Let Mark Burns respond. Mark Burns, you violated international law and you're the one who has escalated it. That's the charge coming in from a panelist who's pro-Iran. Your response?
Well, the reality of it is this. You're forgetting what Iran has been doing for years against America. You're speaking about this latest aggression, but you failed to remember this. President Trump tried to stop Israel at first. Remember that. Let's be clear. President Trump wanted peace. When Israel initially had planes on the airway, the president put a stop to Israel bombing Tehran. Number two, he gave the Iranians a 60-day heads up that this was coming. He warned the Iranians. It made it very clear when Israel on their own bombed Tehran, the president made it clear that we was not behind it, we did not support it, we wanted peace, and it is important that Iran do not attack nor threaten the United States of America. We didn't have anything to do with it. But yet, what does the Ayatollah does? He starts to threaten America. They start again to call for the death of America. Israel have nuclear weapons because they're not calling for the death of America. Iran traditionally has been calling the death of American. The Houthis, the Hezbollah, Hamas, all backed by Iran. China behind Iran. These people are calling for the destabilization of America. They attacked us first. This is retaliatory. On surface, it may look like that we are attacking them first, but the reality, they've been calling for the death, attacking American assets, American soldiers for years. And for why? No, we're not the president of the world. The president is the president of the United States of America, but they're attacking us, and they're trying to wipe Israel off the face of the planet. For what? Over religious liberty? I don't know, but the reality of it is, I believe there's beautiful people in Iran. And I'm not talking about the people of Iran, the innocent people of Iran. I'm talking about the government of Iran that from the parliament is burning American flags, calling for the death and assassination of President Trump. And they've been doing this for years. So you ignore all of that took place, all of the attacks, the terror, the atrocities that took place in Israel by Hamas, backed by Iran. These are, you're talking about international law. Let's start there. So the reality of it is Iran has always been Iran government, not the beautiful people of Iran, but the Iranian government has been the center of terrorist activities in the Middle East.
Sakina Datoo,
shot 6 missiles.
Sakina Datoo, I'd like you to come in now.
Let me come in and first,
I know the 2 points that I want you to answer. One is, of course, that there was plenty of time. There was all the time in the world to sit down and resolve this peacefully, number one. And number two, the question that many are asking is this, that what you've done by sending out these rockets to various countries is that we didn't see this happen when, the conflict between Israel and Gaza took place between Israel and Hamas, but literally it has expanded to the entire Middle East. Because at least 2 countries where those missiles have been fired, the response may be from those countries or from the United States, we don't know. So it has, in a sense, escalated drastically, geographically speaking. Sakina.
Yeah, first of all, let me clarify that I'm not leaning towards Iran. I'm an independent journalist, but I do believe in, anti-imperialist, and I do not believe that anyone has a right to, go and capture other people's countries. Mark is talking about Israel is not a threat to the world. And Iran has never attacked, before this, Iran has never attacked any other country. It is actually Israel in the last 2 years. The whole world has seen how they've committed a genocide. They've broken every international law, you know, under the world. They are the ones who are hitting everybody, Lebanon, Syria, you know, Iraq. They are the ones who are the aggressors in here. The world has watched, you know, this propaganda really, you know, is now not washing on anyone. In the past 2 years, we have seen how children, hospitals, journalists have been targeted by this entity that he calls is the peaceful one. When before has Iran attacked anyone? And you're talking about, you know, why did they not get involved before? Because this is all about defense. When you know, the genocide was going on, Iran was against that, but they could not have intervened directly because they had not been attacked. And despite all the propaganda, Iran actually follows international law and also follows the Islamic rules of engagement, which says that you cannot retaliate, you cannot attack anyone. You only retaliate when you have been attacked. So I think, you know, this idea that Iran should come back to the table, Iran was at the table. The US actually was lying. Iran was having these discussions with Iran, and, you know, while this was happening, Israel went and bombed Iran, and then later on, the same thing happened with US. So they are the aggressors, they are the liars. How dare they talk about Iran going back to the table when Iran was always at the table? It is the US really who is the aggressor over here, and he is talking about, you know,
all right, there's some breaking news coming in. We understand that the UAE has also shut its airspace. This is more as a preemptive measure. We understand the usually busy airspace around the United Arab Emirates has now, of course, been shut. That's the update coming in. This is a big update indeed, and of course massive, because all of these countries in the Middle East, which of course are geographically right next to each other, would not want to take any chances, particularly when it comes to air traffic of their citizens, in fact, traveling through these parts. So massive developments indeed. We're seeing, of course, attacks take place as far as Iraq is concerned, as well as, of course, in Qatar. That's the latest coming in. All right. We also have Iran's IRGC statement coming in. I'm just going to quickly read out from that before I go back to my guests. They've said that in response to the US attack on Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or the IRGC, announced that it has launched a powerful missile strike on the Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, America's largest military base in West Asia. This retaliatory attack, conducted under Operation Basharat al-Fath, was approved by Iran's Supreme National Council and led by the Khatam al-Anbiya Central Command. The era of hit and run is over. Any repeat attacks will accelerate the collapse of US presence in West Asia. And the statement has also ended with a warning saying that future attacks could lead to the downfall of both US military infrastructure in the region and the Zionist regime. So, Mark Burns, this is very significant, because now Iran has made it very clear that if there are further attacks on it, it will target the US's military bases in different parts of West Asia. This could potentially escalate further from here.
So, you know, my counterpart who is speaking about how America is the aggressor, again, she's failing to communicate the terrorist activities of Iran-backed Houthis, terrorist attack activities of Iranian-backed Hezbollah, terrorist attack of Iranian-backed Hamas. These things are very, and for years, backed by this country that has called for the death of the American people. President Trump is simply being proactive in protecting the citizens and American assets of the United States of America. So you could talk about how Iran was at the table. Iran was at the table to receive billions of dollars. We maybe stop our nuclear advancement. That's not the deal that the president, maybe that deal was under Obama, that deal was under Joe Biden, but that's not going to be the deal under President Trump. We're asking you to cease your development of your nuclear weapons in its entirety. Not we will pause it for a little bit or maybe stop it. That was the table. That's what the Iranians were given at the table. That's not what President Trump wants. Okay. We will do a deal as long as there is no nuclear weapon. This is all about no nuclear weapons. Again, as I stated earlier.
All right. Mark Burns, Sakina Datoo, completely out of time on this discussion. Are we looking at a potential escalation? How much further will this go? Is Iran prepared to carry out more such attacks? Many such questions that certainly emerge from these developments coming in from the Middle East. We will, of course, have to slip into a quick break, but I'd like to thank both of you for joining us with your perspectives.